Hey, it's Yenny Babcock, and I'm coming at you from my still very messy studio with July's challenge for the Use What You Have Art Challenge. But before I tell you what the July challenge is, let's do a recap of June and a mid-year check-in. So, the challenge for June was texture, and I mentioned that I was working on a piece that I was using different type of paper. I'm using tissue as a background instead of my regular paper collage, so I am getting a slightly different texture. This is the piece I'm working on, not nearly finished, but I've had a lot going on lately. And this isn't for any particular show, but we'll see what it might get entered into later. So that's June. I have experimented a little bit with texture. Didn't get too crazy. Love to know how you did. And for the mid-year check-in, I can't believe it has been an entire 6 months of not buying any art supplies. What's been amazing about it is in addition to reducing my art supply expense, I've reduced my other expenses because I'm just not shopping. I'm not on shopping platforms as often, so I'm not spending as much money on stuff, which is fantastic. Last year, I spent $2,797.26 roughly on art. Can you tell that I'm a bookkeeper for my day job? And of that, $2,200 was in supplies. The rest was in courses or registering for art shows or paying art memberships, things like that. So for 2025, I spent $2,200 on art supplies, which means I've saved the equivalent of $1,100 this year, approximately. So I'm very proud of myself. This art challenge is working for me in that respect. It's also giving me more permission to just play and use what I have on hand without expectations for how a piece is going to look or turn out. It's really kind of put the fun back into art for me. Even when I am making pieces for shows, I keep in the back of my mind, it's going to turn out however it turns out. I'm working with what I have on hand instead of buying that exact supply that I think is going to make something perfect. So for that, speaking of supplies, the July challenge is for swap and share. Now, I do quite a bit of swapping. Actually, it goes more in one direction than the other. I have an art friend who goes through her supplies periodically and says, "Oh, I'm getting rid of this. Do you want this?" Before she donates it. But I do swap and share my gel printed papers with a couple of art friends, and that's really gratifying, especially when I get to use a piece in a work that gets submitted to a gallery and they can see it on show and they go, "Oh, that little bit of paper, that's when I traded with you." So I encourage everyone to swap and share. In the same vein, maybe you don't have someone to shop and share with, but you can get types of supplies at like a thrift store, something like that. It's kind of similar in nature. So keep me posted. I'd love to hear how you're doing on this challenge. Hit me up with a mid-year check-in, and I'll see you next month.